Hello, I'm Will, and this is Mike with the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
In this video, we're bringing you issue 55 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms magazine. This magazine came with a Lord-Arcanum on Celestial Dracoline miniature for the Stormcast Eternals, which is actually one part of the three-part box of evocators on Celestial Dracolines that also make a Lord-Arcanum. And if you'd like to see the model in action, you can skip ahead to the battle report if you want, using the chapter bars or the time code in the description. But we'll have a look inside the issue first. So first up, we've got some stuff on the weaponry of the Stormcast Eternals. So all of their weapons are forged using celestial magic, and they're imbued with magical power that's sometimes released when they strike. And there's just some examples there: hammers and maces, and bladed weapons, ranged weapons, and their shields. Then we have more of the history of the Spiral Crux, still during the Age of Chaos, and this is talking more about how the Chaos God Tzeentch took over a large proportion of the realm, displacing all the Dwarden inhabitants, but some of them used their ingenuity to take to the skies with their sky vessels and form the ancestors of the Caradron Overlords. Then we have the build instructions for the Lord-Arcanum on Celestial Dracoline. So as I said, normally you'd buy this as part of a 3-model kit that makes evocators on Celestial Dracolines with the option to build the Lord-Arcanum. We will get 2 more evocators on Celestial Dracolines later, but for now you get this one model which they tell you to build as the Lord-Arcanum. So the instructions are here, and there's quite a few parts because obviously it's quite a large model. They also suggest you keep the head on the sprue and use part of the sprue as a handle so you can paint it separately. And then there's the painting guide. Obviously he himself is painted like all the other Stormcast Eternals we've had, but for the Celestial Dracoline they suggest that you give it a base coat of Administratum Grey and then a Nuln Oil wash, and then around the sort of scales in its upper body you do a wash of Quelia green shade to give the skin around that area a slightly darker green tint. And then they suggest you paint the scales and spines on the top with Cantor blue. But that one we actually painted it more of a greenish colour. As I said, he himself is just another Stormcast Eternal, so it's all the same. And then there's a few details on the mount as well. And then highlighting it's just highlighting the scales with blue. And he also has a bit of magical fire on his staff. But there's the finished model there. You can see how the shading and just around the scales gives a slightly different hue to the darker skin on the top of the creature. And there's the other side of him. But that's it for our magazine overview. So we'll have a look at his rules and then get on to our game.
So before we can get into our game for this issue, we've got the warscroll for our new Lord-Arcanum on Celestial Dracoline. So he's very similar to the Lord-Arcanum on Gryph-Charger we already have. So he has the Cycle of the Storm and Spirit Flask as usual. Instead of the Gryph-Charger's ability to cause mortal wounds, instead the Dracoline has a supernatural roar which reduces the bravery of any enemy units within 3 inches by 1. The Thunderous Prounce roar allows the Lord-Arcanum to reroll his charge rolls, and if he does charge then his mount's monstrous claws do d3 damage rather than just 1. And like the other Lord-Arcanum, he is a wizard, but instead of Healing Surge, he knows Stormlance instead, as well as Arcane Bolt and Mystic Shield. And Stormlance has a casting value of 5, and if it's cast, you pick a point on the battlefield within 12 inches of the Lord-Arcanum, and draw an imaginary straight line 1mm wide between that point and the Lord-Arcanum, or the closest part of his base anyway. And then for each enemy model that is passed over by the line, you roll a dice, and on a 5+, that model's unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So if you position him well, it could possibly do a fair amount of damage. And like the other Lord-Arcanum, he has Prime Electride, so his Arcane Bolt is more powerful, and he has a different command ability. His command ability is Pack Alpha, which you can use in the combat phase, and if you do so you can increase the attacks for the monstrous claws of any friendly evocators with Dracoline mounts if they're wholly within 18 inches of that model. Now, it's not going to be too useful for with this magazine unfortunately, because you only end up with 2 evocators on Dracoline mounts, but maybe we'll see that in the future. And over on the next page, just have a quick tutorial on the Supernatural Roar and Thunderous Pounce abilities. And then we can look at the fiction before our game. So this little short story about a Vanguard Palador is searching for knots of wild magic that the Stormcast hope to utilise and harness in order to stop the Nighthaunt. And he manages to find one in the Brittle Hills. Unfortunately there is a wraith has beaten him to it and is using its death magic to try and control the wild magic. So he dismounts his Gryph-Charger and sends it off to the Thunderhead Bastion to call for Stormcast reinforcements. So we can get into our battle plan for this issue. Storm of Magic. So there's a magical vortex raging above the Sigyorn, and wizards from both sides are trying to harness it. So you can see there we have our battle mats set out. We have our 3 battle mats, 5 objectives, so 1 in the middle, 2 10 inches to the left and right of it, and then 6 inches above and below it, or north and south I suppose. For our terrain, we'll be setting up the Azurite Bell Tower, the Fallen Sigmar statue, and the Time-Worn Ruins, and the battle will take place on the Realm of Metal, so we're using the Realm of Metal Realmscape features. The Stormcast player begins deploying, and we alternate. For our armies, the Nighthaunt have the Briar Queen. It's been a very long time since we've seen her, and as well as Reikenor the Grimhailer, a Guardian of Souls, 5 Glaive Ray Stalkers, and 2 units of 10 Chain Rasps. And for the Stormcast Eternals, we have Zandria Azurebolt, our new Lord-Arcanum on Celestial Dracoline, the Lord Exorcist, 5 Secretors, a Celestial Blister, and 5 Liberators. And one thing to note for this game is that only the wizards on either side can actually capture objectives. The game will last for 5 battle rounds, and whoever has the most victory points wins, and we score victory points. We get 1 victory point at the end of each of our turns for each objective we control. So we'll set up the board and come back after we finish deploying. I'll do a quick overview of the board. So you can see over on the left we have the Time-Worn Ruin. In the centre with our 5 objectives, along with the Fallen Sigmar's head, and we gave it a random trait from the train table, and we got Deadly, so if we end our turn next to it, it might take damage. And over on the right is the Bell Tower. I didn't note it in the Battleplan description, but our territory actually begins sort of halfway along this objective, so we actually start off fairly close to each other. I'll go over my deployment first. I have the 5 Glaive Ray Stalkers with Reikenor the Grimhailer, then 1 unit of Chain Rasp with the Guardian of Souls, who will be my general, and then on the far right, the other Chain Rasp unit and the Briar Queen. And then all the Stormcast deployment.
So starting on the left as you see it, we've got the 5 Liberators with the Lord Exorcist behind them. He'll be my general. In the middle we have the Secretors and the Ballista behind them. Zandria Azurebolt is behind the little Sigmar head there. And over on the flank is the new Lord-Arcanum on Celestial Dracoline.
So we go into battle round 1 and we're rolling off to see who gets the first turn.
I rolled a 6 and I'm going to go first.
Yeah, so we're heading to Stormcast turn 1.
So we've got plenty of spells to cast because we've got so many wizards. We'll start with Zandria. She's going to try and cast Spirit Storm, and this Chain Rasp here is just within 18 inches. So we'll need a 7. We get a 7.
Yeah, I'll try and bind it with the Briar Queen, I guess. Needing an 8, getting an 8, so that doesn't knock it off.
And then we'll try and do Mystic Shield with the Lord-Arcanum. And Mystic Shield needs a 6. No, not with a 4. The Lord Exorcist might as well try and cast Metamorphic Warding, which is the Realm of Metal one, just because there's nothing else for anyone to do because their other spells are out of range. So we need a 7. We get a 9.
I might as well try and bind that with Reikenor, I suppose. Going to need a 10 though. You only got a 6.
Yeah, I'm going to put it on the Liberators because they're the only unit holding 12, basically. And then movement. So over here, the metamorphically warded Liberators have moved up with Lord Exorcist behind them, and he's just within 6 inches of that central objective, so he'll take it at the end of the turn. Likewise, Zandria is within 6 of the one in the middle there. She can only hold 1 objective in a turn, so I can't claim both with 1 wizard. And the Secretors are screening her, and the Ballista moved up a little bit. And finally over here, the Lord-Arcanum has moved up, and basically standing on that objective over there. On to the shooting phase. The Ballista is within 18 inches of the middle Chain Rasp unit, so we'll shoot it then. 4 shots, hitting on 5s, getting nothing. So that will bring us to the charge phase, where the Lord-Arcanum is the only thing going to declare a charge. Probably going to need about a 6. Oh, a 10 will do. And he will finish there, so he's within half an inch of the Chain Rasp and not within 3 inches of the Briar Queen. And he will attack, so he's got 4 attacks with his staff starting off, needing 3s, getting 3, and winning on 3s, getting 2.
5+ saves, Chain Rasps, getting 2.
And then 3 attacks with his Celestial Dracoline mount, which hit on 3s, got 1, and it wounds on 3. It did.
5+ save again. Nope, so it's D3 damage because he charged.
Indeed. 1.
So I'll remove this Chain Rasp on the end, and then they get to fight back. So the Chain Rasps are going to pile into the Lord-Arcanum, and they can all get within an inch. So we've got 19 attacks on the Lord-Arcanum, hitting on 4s. That'll be 11 hits, and wounding on 4s. Only getting 4.
And he has a 3+ save, just like his counterpart. Oh, he made them all.
So that'll be the end of the turn. No Battleshock test needed, even with the -1 leadership from the Dracoline. So what will happen is the Stormcast will claim all 3 of these objectives across the middle.
And I'm choosing Zandria to claim that one in the middle rather than the one she's standing next to.
Yes, because our models can only count towards 1 objective at a time. And what this means is that effectively the Stormcast will keep hold of those objectives until I get... Well, either I have to kill the Stormcast wizard if they're on the objective, or I'll need 2 wizards in order to take control. There's no... I can't make an objective contested again. And so as the Stormcast hold 3 objectives at the end of the turn, they get 3 victory points. That'll be the end of Stormcast turn 1, on to Nighthaunt turn 1. So my hero phase, I'll gain a command point, and then I'm going to start spellcasting with the Briar Queen. She's going to use Wraith Storm. Does have a casting value of 7 though, which she does not cast it with a 5. Next, the Guardian of Souls is going to try and cast Arcane Bolt. Needing a 5, getting a 4. Finally, we've got Reikenor, and his special spell isn't in range, so he's just going to try and cast Mystic Shield. Needing a 6. Oh, he gets that with a 7.
We'll try and unbind that then with a Lord Exorcist, I suppose. Nope, not with a 6.
He's going to just put that on himself, just in case the ballista tries to shoot at him. So for my movement, I'll start over here on the right flank. The Briar Queen just moved around to get closer to the middle of the board, and the Chain Rasps over here with the Guardian of Souls have moved up and to the right, so they can get closer to that combat over there, mainly for the Guardian of Souls is +1 to wound. And over here on the left, Reichenor's going to be aggressive and head out into the middle, and the Glabrace are going to follow behind him, and see if we can take out that Lord Exorcist. But in the shooting phase, the Briar Queen has her Scream ability, and she's going to scream at the Lord-Arcanum. So her Scream has 3 shots hitting on 3s, not getting anything. So we'll be on to the charge phase where Reikenor will charge. So he needs anything but a 2. He gets a 5. So he'll finish his charge like that. Not quite the charge I would have wanted, but it's enough to get him in range of the Lord Exorcist. And I will pick Reikenor to go first in the fight phase, and he'll put his attacks with Fell Reaper on the Lord Exorcist, while his horse will have to attack the Liberators, and I am going to spend a command point to use Living Blades, which gives him +1 to hit since he charged this turn. So yes, 4 attacks with Fell Reaper that hit on 3s now, thanks to Living Blades. Well, I made a difference, he got 4 hits, and he wounds on 3s, getting 2.
-1 Ren, so 4+ save for the Lord Exorcist. I made both anyway.
Reikenor's mount, it has 3 attacks hitting on 3s now thanks to Living Blades. Gets 2 hits, and it wounds on 4s, getting 1, no rend.
So they have a 3+ save because of metamorphic warding, rerolling 1s. Rerolling 1s. There we go. Well, I'll pick the Lord-Arcanum next then, because the Liberators are safe now. 4 attacks hitting on 3s with the stick, so they will hit. And wounding on 3s, 2.
2 5+ saves, failed both. Ooh.
These are D3 each. Still only 3.
So that's 3 damage so far.
And then the mount, 3 attacks on 3s. Oh, box. Getting a miss. And wounding on 3s, getting 1. It's not D3 damage anymore though.
5+ save. I'll save that at least. So I'll just take away these 3 on the end. And then those Chain Rasps get to go. Well, they could pile in around the Lord-Arcanum, but they're already within 12 of the Guardian of Souls, so I'm not going to bother. 13 attacks hitting on 4s, 5, and wounding on 3s thanks to the Guardian of Souls. Not 4 wounds.
He has 3+ save. He takes 3 wounds.
Oh, down to 4.
I'll do the Liberators next. And they'll pile in like this, so we can get 4 attacking Reikenor. 9 attacks hitting on 3s, because +1 to hit, because he has more than 5 wounds. 5 or more. Well, this doesn't help us with all those 1s and 2s, we've only got 4 hits. And wounding on 3s. Getting 4.
4+ save, rerolling 1s next to Mystic Shield. Doesn't even need it. Oh.
And then the Lord Exorcist is within 2 inches, so he can hit Reikenor as well. He has 4 attacks hitting on 3s. Getting 3. And wounding on 3s, getting 2.
4+ save, rerolling 1s. And we can reroll a 1 at least. Into success, so it's only D3 damage.
1.
So Reikenor is down to 6 wounds. And that'll be it. And once again, the Chain Rasps don't need to make a battle shock test because they're Bravery 9, effectively, because of the Dracoline, but they only took 3 casualties. And at the end of the turn, I only control this objective over here, so I only get 1 victory point.
And objective control happens at the end of every turn, so in this turn I'll pick Zara to be in range of this objective here, so she'll take control of that one as well.
So, as we end battle round 2, we're rolling off.
Oh.
I got a 5 to 1, and I'm going to go first. At the start of the hero phase I gain a command point, and then Reikenor's going to use one of his spirit candles to do a mortal wound to the Lord Exorcist. So I'm going to begin spellcasting. I'm going to try and cast Howling Vortex. I called it Ray Storm last time, but it's actually Howling Vortex as the Briar Queen spell. So I'm going to target it there, which will effectively hit all of the Stormcast apart from the Lord Exorcist in that group. She needs a 7. She does not get it with a 5. I'll do Reikenor next. He's going to try and cast Ray Storm. He needs a 7, but he has +1 to hit because he used his candles on an enemy unit. So he gets an 8, effectively.
I will try and unbind that with the Lord Exorcist.
Needing a 9.
Oh, 12.
Oh, never mind. Finally, the Guardian Souls will try and use Spectral Lore. Needing a 6. Getting it with a 7.
The Lord-Arcanum, I suppose, will try and bind. No, not with a 4.
He'll use it on the damage unit of Chain Rasps and bring back a d6 of them. Bringing back 2. So there isn't really going to be much movement on my part. All of these forces are going to stay roughly where they were. The Briar Queen shifted over a little bit, see if we can get Howling Vortex in range of the Lord Exorcist as well. But otherwise the Glaive Race are going to move up to support Reikenor. He's going to stay in combat. So we'll be on to the shooting phase, where the Briar Queen will try and scream at the Lord-Arcanum again. She has 3 shots hitting on 3s. She remembered how to shoot this time, got 3 hits. And wounding on 2s, because she's within range of the Guardian of Souls. Getting 2, and -3 rend.
So 6 is to save. Nope, 2 wounds.
He's down to 2. So in the charge phase, the Glaive Ray Stalkers will charge. Not going to need very much. 7 is easy enough. Well, I'm going to pick Reikenor to go first, and he's going to do exactly what he did last time, put his attacks on the Lord Exorcist, and then put his horse attacks on the Liberators. So he has 4 attacks with Fell Reaper, hitting on 4s now, because no Living Blades anymore. 6s to hit, cause 2 mortal wounds. He got nothing at all. And then his horse has 3 attacks hitting on 4s, he got 2 hits, and wounding on 4s, getting 2.
I haven't had my turn yet, so we've still got 3+ save, which I've made. Well, we better do the Lord-Arcanum before the chain runs to drag him down. 4 attacks on 3s with the stick. They all hit. Wounding on 3s. Oh, well, just 1. He's not very good with this.
5+ save. Made it.
And his Celestial Dracoline on 3s. We got 1. Wounding on 3. It did.
5+ save. Made that as well. So the Glaive Race are going to go. No, we're not going to bother try and go for the Lord Exorcist because he's got 4 wounds left. So we're just going to go for the Liberators. So we have 10 attacks, hitting on 4s, re-rolling everything because we charge. So re-rolling the 3 misses, gets another hit. So we've got 8 hits, and they wound on 3s. 5.
5 3+ saves, re-rolling 1s. The 3s, yeah, that's the spell again, helping. We'll do the Liberators next. And I'm going to take the risk of going near the deadly terrain to get the extra 2 attacks, because we're within an inch of this stuff here, which from the terrain warscroll we got last time. So if I roll a 1, I take a mortal wound. I did not. And we'll put everything on Reikenor because he can't be brought back by the Guardian of Souls. 11 attacks now, hitting on 3s. Only 6 hits, wounding on 3s. Okay, that's 5.
4+ save, no re-rolls. Oof, down to 2 wounds on Reikenor. My last pick is these Chain Rasps attacking the Lord-Arcanum. 17 attacks on the Lord-Arcanum, hitting on 4s. Only getting 6 hits. Wounding on 3s. Getting 3.
Well, so he might live at least. 3+ saves. Well, he takes a wound though, he's down to 1. And that just leaves the Lord Exorcist and the 2 wound Reikenor is the tempting target. So 4 attacks on 3s, 3, and 3s, 2.
4+. It failed 1.
D3 damage. Oh, 3.
So Reikenor goes down, having done a whole mortal wound. So at the end of the turn, I still only control 1 objective, so I'm up to 2 victory points. And so we're on to Stormcast turn 2.
So I gain a command point in the hero phase, and spells will start off with Purifying Blast from the Lord Exorcist, because it'll hit the Glaive Race if it goes off. So it goes off on a 5. It does with a 6.
I'm not going to unbind that, I don't care about Glaive Race.
So I have to roll a dice and add half their bravery, because they're a Nighthaunt unit, and if I get under 10, they take these mortal wounds. So a 2 + 5 is 7, so that's good, and D3 for 3.
Yeah, we'll just take away these 3.
We'll try and do the Lord-Arcanum's specific spell, Storm Lance. It goes off on a 5, or a 6.
I'll try and unbind that. I'll do it with the Briar Queen, I suppose. Needing a 6, getting a 10.
And then Zandria will just try and do Spirit Storm. Needing a 7. Nope. The only units that will move are the Sequitors and Zandria. They've just moved up the field a bit. So on to the shooting phase. The Ballista's going to shoot at the Chain Rasp to engage with the Lord-Arcanum because I think he needs a bit of help.
Yeah, and they'll just with an 18.
So 4 shots hitting on 5s. You're getting 2. 2d6 hits. 6. Wounding on 3s. 5.
5+ saves. Made 2, so 3 die. Take away these 2 and that one.
On to the charge phase. Sequitors will declare a charge. They're not within an inch of the entangling terrain, so they don't get a penalty. Charge roll is a 2. Well, we'll spend a command point to re-roll that. It's a 6. That might be just about enough. And they'll finish like that, so leaving a bit of room for Zandria to charge. Her charge is an 8, which should be enough. And she makes it to there. So in the fight phase, we'll do power to weapons with the Sequitors, but I think I will actually do the Lord-Arcanum first, because I bet those Chain Rasps will kill him if I don't. So 4 attacks with the stick on 3s. No, he's got 1 hit. It wounds on a 3. No, it did.
5+. Nope.
D3 damage at least. Still 1. Can his mount help? Not with that roll. Only got 1 hit. Wounds on a 3. Oh, that's a wound.
5+. Saved. 1 Chain Rasp dies. And then I'll pick the other unit of Chain Rasps because they aren't safe. So they're going to pile in like that and put all of our attacks on the Sequitors. 21 attacks hitting on 4s. Getting 11 hits. Wounding on 3s. 8.
4+ saves, re-rolling 1s. Got a 1. Failed 3, so that's a Sequitur and a half. This one will take 2 wounds and die. Use Cycle of the Storm to keep him alive with the Lord-Arcanum, and then the 3rd wound will kill him. I'll pick the Liberators to go next. They need to pile in. So they pile in like this. They can all just about get within an inch. 11 attacks hitting on 4s. 8. And wounding on 3s. 5.
4+ saves to Glaive Race. I made them all. So I will pick the Glaive Race because the Lord Exorcist is in range and he can kill them, so might as well try and kill a Liberator. 4 attacks from the 2 remaining Glaive Race, hitting on 4s, re-rolling because we're attacking a unit that charged. Oh no, they weren't, they're already engaged, so no re-rolls. So 1 hit, wounds on 3.
4+ save. Nope. We'll do the Secretors now, so this one just needs to pile in round there. We've got 7 attacks with Great Maces, hitting on 3s, re-rolling misses because of powerful weapons. Oh, still missed.
Still only 5 hits.
Wounding on 3s. Forwards.
5+ saves. Made 1, so that's 6 damage so far.
And we have 1 normal mace on 3s, re-rolling both of those misses into 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, getting 2.
5+ again. Made 1, so that's 7 dead chain rasps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And my last spoke is these 4 chain rasps going to try and kill the Lord-Arcanum. 9 attacks hitting on 4s. 7 hits, wounding on 3s. Getting 4.
He needs to make all his saves to live. He failed once, so he dies. The Lord-Arcanum on Celestial Dracoline dies.
And will the other 2 Stormcast Bitters still get to go?
Yeah, we'll start with Zandria. She charged, so I'll spend my command point for Living Blades, give her +1 to hit, because if I can get rid of these 3 chain rasps, they can't be brought back. So hitting on 2s, well, it didn't make any difference. And wounding on 3s, 2.
5+, nope.
So 2d3 damage, yeah, 3 is enough.
Chain rasps are gone.
And lastly, the Lord Exorcist, he'll pile in just a bit, and with his 2-inch weapon. 4 attacks on 3s, getting 3. Wounding on 3s, 2.
4+ saves. Failed both, so they're gone. So the 2 Glaive Race are gone. Yeah, those chain rasps don't actually need to make a battle test anymore because they are no longer at bravery 9. But at the end of the turn, the Stormcast will hold 4 victory points and go up to 7. And at that point, I'm just going to concede because I have 6 models left and I've only killed 2 Stormcasts so far. So we'll call that a Stormcast victory, and we'll recap that for you now. So that was the game for issue 55 of Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms magazine. How did you think that went?
Well, obviously pretty well, with the exception of the Lord-Arcanum, who was rubbish. But I think the fact I was able to go first meant I could take 3 objectives and get 3 victory points straight away. Because you had to have more wizards than I did on an objective to take it back, you were then always going to be hobbled for victory points. And unfortunately, the occasions you had where you might have been able to influence things, the dice didn't really go your way. Ultimately, Reikenor failed to kill the Lord Exorcist, which would have taken an objective. Chain Rasps probably should have killed the Lord-Arcanum, which would have let you take an objective.
Yeah, if he'd taken a couple more wounds from the Briar Queen's Scream attack in the first turn, you might have been able to kill him and then moved her to take the objective he took, and that would have been on 3.
Yeah, if any of those 3 Scream attacks in the first turn had hit, you would have...
yeah, it's pretty poor rolling all round, to be honest.
Yes, it was definitely rubber weapons day for everybody.
And for having so many wizards, there was maybe 3 spells that were successfully cast out of 12 attempts or something.
Yeah, there were pretty poor spell rolls, and some decent unbind rolls as well. Because overall, I wouldn't say any of my units performed spectacularly or above average. The Sequitors obviously obliterated a chain rasp unit, but they usually do that. That's not like above their usual capability.
Even then, they didn't roll any 6s.
Yeah, they didn't do as well as they can do. The Ballista wasn't spectacular.
Reikenor was dreadful for me. Didn't do any damage with his weapons.
Yeah, he didn't get his spell off. He did a wound with corpse candles. I think I did roll some saves against him, to be fair, so I think he would have possibly done damage that I negated by rolling well for saves.
Yeah, he's only got -1 Ren, so it's not even against the Lord Exorcist. You'd expect to save a few. I wouldn't expect to kill him in 1 round of attacks.
Actually, one of the few spells that actually was useful was Metamorphic Warding. The +1 save on the Liberators.
Yeah, definitely made it.
Definitely helped them out, yeah.
And my Chain Rasps and Glaive Races aren't as powerless. This is going to get minced by Sequitors, so harder for me to break through your lines than it is for you to break through mine.
In a funny kind of way, it feels like our armies were pretty much exactly on parity of units. Like we both had 2 infantry units. Well, you had 3, I had the Ballista, you had some Glaive Races, we had 3 wizards each, one of whom was on a fast mount. The problem is that unit for unit, all of your units are just not as good as mine.
Yeah. But, yeah, and I think your Lord Arcanum had new model syndrome. and they seem pretty similar. Maybe the Griff Charger, pretty more useful for supporting your army because he can heal things, and his command ability is better for Secretors and Castigators and Evocators. Or he might be slightly better in prolonged combat because his mount might cause mortal wounds, but it'll probably be pretty similar. Whereas the Dracoline, I guess, is really just going to be more useful if you're Evocators on Dracolines. I'm not really sure why you'd pick him instead of the Griff Charger if you didn't have any Evocators on Dracolines.
Yeah, because his command ability unfortunately only affects that one unit.
And
really.
Stormlance, I wouldn't say is a particularly good spell. Mainly useful because you could hit multiple units with it. You're going to have to manoeuvre him well and to get decent damage output out of it, because I imagine most of the time you're better off just doing Arcane Bolt.
Yeah, because he always does D3 on Arcane Bolt anyway. So on average it would be the same as Arcane Bolt if you can hit 6 models with it.
And also Arcane Bolt's going to be better against characters as well.
It's a different kind of spell. I guess it's interesting. I just don't think it's as good. And actually, I think I'd rather stick with Arcane Bolt and have the spell that allows him to heal himself, like the Griff Charger.
And using the Spirit Flask is probably riskier with this character as well, because he can't heal himself.
Yeah. He's better on the charge, basically. The D3 damage from the mount on the charge means he can probably do a bit of damage on the charge. But
yeah, and being able to re-roll charges as well is going to be handy. It's a bit weird that they give us another Lord-Arcanum, seeing as you do get another, effectively, Lord-Arcanum. You get Estrella Soulbright, who's a named Lord-Arcanum, so I'm not really sure why you'd have 3. And also, this is part of the kit that builds 3 Evocators on Dracolines, and we'll get the other 2 eventually, but they have a minimum unit size of 3. So I do have to wonder if they gave us a Lord-Arcanum just for this issue to do this mission.
Yeah. I mean, you can obviously take understrength units, you're very welcome to play with them, but if you do want to play using the pitch battle profiles, which actually now that 3rd edition's out, I think that's encouraged to do that for all kinds of gaming. You're going to need 3 of those, whereas with the magazine you do only get 2. It's not a huge deal, but it does just mean you do actually have to buy more of them if you want to be using the full minimum unit size with the pitch battle profiles. We'll talk about that more when we actually get to the Celestial Dracoline issue, because you'll see there's a unit or 2. But
yeah, and not really sure how he fits into the narrative, because presumably it isn't Boreas Glory Mantle, because in a few issues' time we'll have both Lord-Arcanums, so and he's just another Lord-Arcanum who showed up, I guess. I do like the model though. It's a pretty cool alternative take on the Lord-Arcanum. It's a suitably imposing model. I do like Dracolines. We need something bigger than a horse. Let's use this cat thing instead.
Yeah, it's like a sort of lizard-cat hybrid thing. I quite like it as well. Yeah, I like how the different mounts have a different character as well. The Griff Charger is like sort of rearing up like a noble sort of charger, steed, whereas this one is pouncing, or it's like a lithe, cat-like creature. So
prowling.
It gives you an idea of how the beasts might actually behave if they were real things.
Yeah, I do like the pose as well. They're pretty dynamic.
Yeah.
The Dracolines do look good. Oh, and I do like using Colia green shade to tint parts of it. That's quite a neat idea. And it does look good once it's done. It's
a useful introduction to that kind of painting technique as well, just to see how you can use shades to recolour areas rather than just to do something. So yeah, I think it's a nice little touch.
But otherwise, I don't think there's too much more to say about this battle or this issue. So if you like this content, please leave a like and subscribe. And leave any comments. If you played this game, how did it go for you? What do you think of the Lord-Arcanum on Dracoline and that sort of thing? We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.